If we go back to the dates of kings and kingdoms, then we can see that there was no problem. There was no crisis, of course. They were only dependent on the rainwater. But they have so many measures and methods to harvest the rainwater. So once there is a rain, the people used to follow different methods to store the water in the ground. They have ponds and lakes and wells which are well maintained. So when they are properly maintained, the rainwater is harvested, the rainwater is captured into the ground, it is stored underground and it is used from the wells whenever it is needed. But later what happened? So later the new technologies have come, the new methods have come, the British has brought the approaches like building big dams. So people totally forgot about their local maintenance of the local water bodies. So people thought that it is the duty of government build the dams and it will supply the water. So supply of water is the duty of government. People totally forgot about their maintenance, local bodies, the local water body maintenance. It was totally forgotten. So now it is the big issue. What is that? Water crisis. So totally all the agriculture, irrigation, which is far away from the rivers and canals, the people are dependent on the groundwater. They are growing the crops which takes a lot of water even when they are not connected to any canal or river. Then how they are getting the water? They are drawing the water from the ground by putting bore wells which suck the water with the help of pumps. So these bore wells are dug 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters, 100 meters. So this much of depth. They are going 1000 feet even. Sometimes they are going to 1000 feet to draw the water. So in this way the water is drawn out of the earth, the groundwater. Of course we can take the groundwater and we can use it. But the thing is, we should see that it is recharged. Again the water should reach the ground. That means we should have some measures by which the rainwater is sink down into the ground. So the groundwater must be recharged always. So if you are not taking any steps to recharge the groundwater, simply you wanted to use groundwater, what happens at one day? It will become extinct. So you won't find any water even though you go for more than 1000 feet down. There is no use. So that is what happening in many places. Even though they drill lot and lot of depth with the machines, they are not able to find even a drop of water. Because they overexploited the groundwater. Overexploitation, overusage of groundwater without any idea of recharging. So that is the water crisis. So in this lesson, in this section, we are going to talk about water management methods. The people, the villagers or the governments, they can follow certain methods to restore or to harvest the rainwater. Of course, the dams, they store the water in a large quantity, and not only to supply in time of agriculture, the idea is to store the water so by that it get seep down into the ground, so recharge of the groundwater, and the water can be regulated and supplied, and even it may be used for hydroelectricity production. So in this way, with all these ideas, the dams were built, constructed. Apart from these huge dams, there are many other methods. There can be many other small constructions by which water can be harvested, by which water can be stored, by which we can prevent the wastage of water. What is the wastage of water? So when there is rainfall at one particular place, the water it flows downstream, you call it as runoff. So this runoff, it leads till where? Till it gets mixed in the ocean. So the water, it flows into the ocean. So you can make certain constructions, dams or bunds or something there in between. So by that, at every stage you can stop the flow of water. You can preserve the water, you can store the water for some extent, and you can slowly release the water when it is needed, and you can supply the water. You can channelize the water to different areas, different crops. So by that, the water can be properly utilized by these constructions. Let us see some of the constructions that are done in different areas of our country and how they are useful. So before we see the various harvesting methods, let us see the different reasons for water crisis. First thing is loss of vegetation cover. Loss of vegetation cover. Vegetation cover helps water to recharge. So the groundwater is recharged by vegetation cover. If the land is covered by grass, so by that the roots of the grass, they hold much soil and the soil can hold much water. So the water holding capacity is more. So by that the water is reaching the ground and the level of underground water increases. So loss of vegetation is one reason for water crisis. The second one is diversion of water for water demanding crops. Let us take rice, sugarcane. So these are the crops that need lot of water to grow. So in some places the water is diverted to the crops which take a lot of water. So in that cases the other people, the other places may not get proper, no equitable distribution of water. And third one is pollution, releasing effluents, wastes into the water, also one of the problem for the water crisis. Now let us see. So these are the various reasons. And as I told you before, the local water management was not there. People are totally forgot the local management of their local water bodies. Recently we see in the state Telangana, so there is a program called as Mission Kakatiya. If we see that in the state of Telangana, so the government has taken the initiation of repairing the water bodies, tanks in the villages. So by that they can harvest the water. So you see, these kind of activities were done during the period of kings, and in their kingdoms they have taken every step, every measure to maintain these tanks, wells and other ponds, lakes, all the water bodies are well maintained. So by that they can harvest the natural water, that is the rainwater. But that is after the entry of the British, the scenario changed, as I have explained earlier. So they started constructing big dams. The people, they have come to a conclusion that okay, maintenance of water bodies is not our duty and that is the duty of the government. So the government has taken the responsibility of building big dams and providing the water. So channelizing the water supplied through irrigation canals, and all this has come. So people totally neglected the local water bodies. So it led to water crisis. Now let us see dams. Okay, the British or the present government or the independent India, the government has built up so many dams. But now let us see whether these dams have solved this problem or not. They have constructed so many dams, but still there is a problem for water. Why? What are the issues that are linked up with these dams? One major thing is no equitable distribution of water. A dam is constructed at one place. So the water is channelized. To which areas these channels reach, that crops and that farmers will be happy. They will get the water. But there are some places which are far away from this dam, far away from the canals, they do not get any water. So no equitable distribution. The water is not properly, rationally distributed. That is not possible here. So some people get so many benefits, some people gets problem. They don't get sufficient amount of water. So the government it gives reasons, okay, you are in far away place and your place we cannot, the water can be supplied. You are at some height, higher place, higher than the level of the water flow. So you need to have some kind of lift irrigation to supply. It costs crores of rupees. So the government cannot provide water to certain areas because they are in higher level. So in this way there are so many problems linked up which causes the unequal distribution of water. So that is what happened in Indira Gandhi Canal in Rajasthan. So here the dam, it can bring greenery to certain parts of Rajasthan, but whereas in other places, some places there is no proper distribution of water. So this is what happens. And one more issue linked up with the construction of the dams is that evacuation of the area. Many people are living in that particular area are evacuated because to construct the dam they need very large area. So in this case they have to evacuate certain villages. Now at present we can see the issue with Polavaram in Andhra Pradesh state. So they are going to construct a Polavaram dam. So for this Polavaram dam, they are going to evacuate certain villages. So what happens to these villagers? They will be given some promises that if they give their land, houses, their village, if they leave their village, so we will be providing you housing, we will be providing you this and that and this. The government make promises. But how far these promises are fulfilled, that is the another social issue linked up with. And how far it is good. In some cases, while constructing the dams or reservoirs, these kind of projects, then they'll be evacuating, at the same time they'll be removing certain forest area. The forest area also will be submerged by water. So it leads to loss of diversity. Many animals become extinct or they may disappear from that area. So that is all happens because of this. So many issues are linked up with this. That is construction of big dams, huge project. So here we have to think that, will this bring a permanent solution? Will it be a permanent solution? Will these dams and projects supply water to each and everybody? Will they cater the needs of each and every farmer? Will they cater the needs of domestic needs of water in each and every household? That has to be discussed here. So now let us see that once again, just have a look at the problems that are caused by the dams. One is social problem, as we have discussed that it affects the lives of so many people. Those who are living in the vicinity of that particular area where the government planned to construct a dam, those people are evacuated. So by that the government make promises, but it is not sure whether they get all the benefits. And not only in terms of money, leaving their home, leaving their motherland and going to some other place is a very pathetic condition, and many people may not be able to digest it. So these are the social issues. And second thing is economic. So what is the economic aspect of this? Here, to construct a dam, thousands of crores of money is invested here. So from where does this money come? Okay, government spends it. From where does the government gets? It is the money of people. The people of a country pay the taxes, which is collected by the government, which is used for different purposes like this. But here once a huge amount of money is invested in building a dam, how far this dam guarantees the upliftment of living standards of the people? So it is a questionable area, because we have seen what are the various problems associated with these dams. A dam may fail because it may not be able to properly provide the water to all the people. It may not be able to equally distribute the water to all the people. So justice is not done to all the people, but all the people's money is invested here. So the people contributed for this dam, which is useful only for a sector, a few people, not for everybody. And one more issue that it goes in countries, in our country we are seeing the other thing, corruption. Where there is a lot of money, then there is a word called corruption. So when there is an investment of thousands of crores of rupees, there will be a kind of lobbying. Every contractor, every person, every official, and the people, those who are associated in that, political parties, political people, everybody wanted to get benefit out of that, the huge project. So the corruption, people's money is wasted. So these are the economic aspects of the construction of dams. So social problems we have seen. Third one is, so social, economic, and third one is about environmental. What is this environmental? How the environment is affected. Loss of biodiversity. Forest area is cleared up, and sometimes they may remove certain hills and certain areas also. They level up certain hills and they clear the forest. So all these leads to loss of biodiversity. Loss of biodiversity. So that is the reason you see that whenever there is a the government announces that it's going to construct a big project there will be some opposition, agitations from different groups of people. Tribals, they say that we don't want to lose our land, and students, they agitate, okay, do not disturb these natural areas and do not evacuate the villages. And many people question that how far this dam is going to help the people and how far the benefits will help the people for the upliftment of the community, and what sector of people are going to benefit from this dam. And there are so many people who don't have any benefit out of this, even though the public money, their money, which is paid in the form of taxes, is invested here. So now let us see the traditional water harvesting method. Watershed management is a very important aspect, and which helps to conserve the fertility of the soil as well as to restore the water, to recharge the ground. So here the soil fertility is maintained, soil erosion is prevented. Second thing is the water is stored in the ground. So the underground water recharge also takes place. So these two things, that is preserving the fertility of the soil and recharge of the groundwater, these two things, they contribute to the increase in biomass production. Biomass production. What is this biomass? Biomass is nothing but the amount of plant matter or animal matter, living matter on the area. If a ground is left barren and all the soil is allowed to erode, no water is recharged down, in such barren land you cannot find even a single grass. So there is no biomass. You take some 10 meters of such area, in the 10 meters there is no grass, no biomass. But if the soil is properly managed with the help of local watershed management methods, the soil fertility is maintained as well as the water content of the soil is also maintained. So it leads to increase in the biomass production. More biomass is produced. So this is a very ancient system. As I told you before, during the time of kings and kingdoms, they used to focus on the local water bodies, watershed management. Underground water, that is the dug wells, as well as the tanks and ponds, allowed more vegetation. So by that more recharge of groundwater. So in different places in our country, we see different kind of methods, traditional water harvesting methods, in which we see this is a traditional water harvesting methods by using these kadins or bunds. Here these kadins are called as bunds, and these are called with different names in different states, but the purpose is same. This is to make some bund. By making this bund, allowing the water to stagnate here. So this stagnated water, it seeps down into the ground, seepage. So this is a kadin. It may be constructed with the help of brick, stones and mud, usually in the crescent shape like this. So it will stop the flow of water. So this is the catchment area. From here the water goes down. So when it is going down, it is stopped at this place. The water is stored here for some time. So by that it recharges, seepage takes place. So once here the groundwater is recharged, you get water in the dug wells, shallow dug well. From the dug well you can collect the water. So this is an example how the traditional water management methods work. But even now, this is the time for the governments and for the people to think for local harvesting methods. They should repair and develop their local water bodies. That is what we see in that. I already told you, in the state Telangana, they started Mission Kakatiya. So in this, they repair the old tanks and wells and other water bodies, local water bodies. So that is by the involvement of the local people. So by that they can harvest more rainwater for better irrigation, or at least for drinking water purposes and other. So they can improve their groundwater levels. So now let us look at the another natural resource, that is what we are going to discuss here, is that coal and petroleum. So coal and petroleum is an important natural resource. Here coal and petroleum are useful in two ways. One is as a fuel, source of energy. They are the major source of energy for the transportation. Vehicles run by petrol and diesel, which are obtained from petroleum. Coal is used to produce electricity in the thermal power stations. So these are the fuels, that means source of energy Second thing is raw materials. These are the raw materials for synthetic objects or things. What does it mean, synthetic? Plastic. So we see so many synthetic materials, even cloths, even packing material, even utensils, everything is made out of plastic, and it's a synthetic composites. So it is a source of carbon compounds which have a special characteristic, that is non-degradable. So that character made the plastic is a good material for various purposes, in food, in healthcare, everywhere the plastics are used. These are all derived from coal. So these fossil fuels, the coal and petroleum, they are available in the earth's crust. But how far they'll be available like that? Okay, they are available, we are extracting them, we are using them, we are making so many products out of that, and we are using all these products for our comfort. But here, due to the increase in population, increasing demand for all these products, lots and lot of coal and petroleum are extracted and they are used like that. But definitely on one day they will be exhausted. So what would be the condition? What do we do that we give for the future generations? So that is the reason why these natural resource, it has to be used judiciously. Earlier, the usage of these materials was limited. But when this industrial revolution started, in the industrial revolution, the major invention was steam engine. Engines were invented. The engines are connected to the factories. The factories are mechanized. Everything goes in machines. That means some machine will run automatically by using some fuel like coal, steam. So it started using machines everywhere for transport, for production of goods, for transport of goods, for everything. So thereby, the usage of this coal and petroleum increased a lot. So here the problem is not only the exhaustion of these resources, the another problem is when these resources are burnt to get energy. When petrol is burnt, diesel is burnt, other materials are burnt, they release so many poisonous gases. As these are carbon compounds which contain carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen sometimes, these gases are released into the atmosphere. The coal may contain sulfur which is released into the atmosphere, sulfur oxides, react with rainwater, form acid rains. Nitrogen react with oxygen and form nitrogen oxides, and react with rainwater may form acid rains. So they may pollute the air. They release compounds like carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, which is very dangerous. Carbon monoxide is more harmful compared to carbon dioxide. So this carbon monoxide is released in the smoke of vehicles which use petrol and diesel to run. So this carbon monoxide, it causes so many problems, health problems, headache, nausea, vomiting, and these kind of problems in the urban people. Those who travel in traffic for long hours, they are exposed to carbon monoxide. So their blood cells efficiency decreases in carrying oxygen. So by that leads to headache, fatigue, and so many kind of problems. They go under a stress which they cannot face the regular life activities. They'll undergo a lot of stress and pressure. So everything happens because of the pollution. May leads to so many health problems also. So all this happens because of the burning of the fossil fuels. Burning large amounts of coal in industries releases so many gases, sulfur oxides into the air. So that is also a dangerous thing. And the release of a huge amount of carbon dioxide leads to global warming, greenhouse effect, because CO2 is a greenhouse gas. So in this way, the coal and petroleum, the resource, if it is not used judicially, it leads to all these consequences. So here we must understand the importance of judicial use of this resource, coal and petroleum, as like in water. So in this part, in this chapter, we have seen about the coal and petroleum, water and forest. So forest, water, coal and petroleum are the different natural resources which we discussed in this chapter, their proper management and judicial use, and what are the various social, economical, environmental issues that are linked up, and what is our responsibility, and what kind of awareness we must have, and what kind of decisions we should take, and what kind of options we have to choose for a proper management of these natural resources for a sustainable growth in a eco-friendly environment.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.